Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsy69 and welcome back to the channel. Today we have another tank versus tank video, and we're looking at the Chieftain Mark 6 versus the Super Conqueror. The Super Conqueror. Now, the Chieftain's been out a while. The Super Conqueror not so long. The Chieftain has always been one of my favourite heavies in tier 10. But do you know what? Since having the Super Conqueror, I think the Chieftain is just starting to fall down. And I think it's because of the turret. I think we're going to show you some battles, but we're going to have a look at the stats first, but to compare. So straight up, DPM is in the Chieftain's favour, 3,166 to 2,800. So that's actually quite a big difference. The penetration pretty much the same, but the penetration on the premium rounds goes to the Super Conqueror. 110 on your HE, your Hesh, on both, pretty much the same alpha. Reload is a little bit longer on the Super Conqueror. Rate of fire 7.9 on the Chieftain, 7.12, and that's 7.58 second reload compared to 8.4. Same caliber gun, and the shell velocity is much better in the Chieftain's favour. Aim time is much better in the Chieftain's favour. Dispersion is much better in the Chieftain's favour. Both do have 10 degrees of gun depression, but the Chieftain also has more gun elevation. Speed also in the favour of the Chieftain Mark 6. So how am I liking the Super Conqueror better than the Chieftain? Because the turret armour on the Chieftain 350 millimeters compared to 280 on the Super Conqueror. The Super Conqueror does have a stronger hull. It does have a stronger side on your hull, and it does have a stronger rear. So why do I like the Super Conqueror better than the Chieftain? Well, we're just going to jump into a few games in both tanks to see how they both pan out. So the Chieftain is fantastic. It is quite low to the ground. It is quite a low-profiled tank. And of course, as you've seen, it does have that 350 millimeters of turret armor. But the biggest downfall with the tank is it does have that hatch on top that's very, very easy to penetrate. Now, we're watching Daniel here, one of my clanmates. He is going to get a few bounces, but he's getting those bounces from distance. If you're using your gun depression and you're over a ridgeline, it's very easy to get that hatch. If you're not moving backwards and forward, or I've had battles where the tank is moving backwards and forward, and I've been able to penetrate that hatch very, very easy. Even though it's not as big as some tanks, it kind of reminds me of the E4, where it's got great armor, it's got great turret armor, except for it does have that massive hatch. And the Chieftain is the same, and it's never really bothered me. It's never really bothered me. I've always seen the Chieftain as a fantastic tank, and I still do. It is a great tank. It really is a great tank. I love it. I love the camouflage on the thing. I think it's one of the most sexiest looking tanks in the game. It looks absolutely beautiful, especially with the British flag. Obviously, me being British and all that, I do think it looks stunning. But after playing the Super Conqueror for some time, I'm sitting here thinking, like, I'm getting bounces in the Super Conqueror when I'm in the hold down position that I would just never get in the Chieftain. And for me, that's important when you're using a tank with gun depression and strong armor, is getting into those positions so the enemy can't literally do nothing. But when you've got a big massive hatch on top, or when you've got a big hatch on top, it kind of defeats the object in playing the tank in a hold down position. Of course, as I've said, from distance, like we're going to see here, you can get those bounces. But when you've got a medium tank or a TD, especially a TD that's quite close, and they are aiming at that hatch because that's the only thing they can see. And I mean, this hatch I think can actually be HE'd. So you do have to be very careful. And if you are going to play the Chieftain over a ridgeline, I definitely recommend you to don't stay still. You have to make it hard for the enemy to be able to get that shot off, because when you are hold down, they will go for that hatch. And that's the difference between the two tanks. The Super Conqueror doesn't have really that hatch where people just aim for. It's a very difficult, even though the hatch looks bigger on the Super Conqueror, it's not an easy pen, and it's not as easy to get the tank because to get the shot off, because the hatch is at the back of the tank. So when you are in that hold down position and you're using the gun depression, it's very, very hard to see the hatch, where the Chieftain is pretty much at the front. You go hold down and they can still see that hatch. And we're going to show you an example, like after this next game. We're going to watch Fizzy driving the Super Conqueror, and we're going to see just how brutal this armor profile can be on the turret of the tank. Not even just the turret, the upper plate as well. And what better map to use mines? So he's literally pushed the hill, and just watch the bounces that keep coming in. I think he bounces 16 shots this game. 16, and the majority of them are all from big TDs. There we go, 1300 block damage already. He hasn't taken any damage, and it gets to the point where it annoys the enemy. So they just start splashing HE, because there's nothing else that they can do. There's nothing else that they can do. So far, 2,200, that will be him gone. That's his hit points. That's his hit points all gone if he wouldn't have bounced those shots. Look, HE. People have started already to shoot HE at him. And a minute gone, he's now up to 2,500 block damage. Within a minute, that's an insane amount of block damage. And he's not going to end. He is going to block damage all game long. And you would think the E4 on the enemy team, who's at the back, who's getting these shots off, who's not doing no damage, you would think he would give up. Like, he does not give up. Fair play to him. Like, if it doesn't succeed the first time, try again. And in his case, if it doesn't succeed the 10th time, try again for the 11th. You might just pen. And because he just literally tries farming the Super Conqueror, but he does nothing. He absolutely does nothing. There we go. Another 640 bounce. That's 4.1k block damage in 2 minutes. He's literally blocking 2k a minute. It's the arm profile on this is really, really, really good. And when I tested this tank, in fact, I didn't like the tank. I really didn't like it. I think it was okay, but I really didn't enjoy the tank as definitely as much as the Chieftain Mark 6. But playing it a bit more, I keep to it, playing it and playing it and playing it, and I really am starting to enjoy the tank. Just because of the armor profile. It's very, and you can see the hatch on top. The hatch is really, really big at the back of the turret, but it's at the back. And look, just look at all these bounces. 7,900 blocked damage. That's the kind of damage you're blocking in an E3. You shouldn't be doing that in a Super Conqueror. But a map like this, absolutely perfect. Now, if you was like this in the Chieftain, you would have that hatch shown. And they would get so bored that they will start shooting that hatch, and it will pen most times. As long as they can hit it, it will pen. So we are going to come up to an end of this game. There's another block damage, blocked shot, 9,300 blocked. I think he's going to get one more, maybe from the E4, I think it is. His team are now pushing. There's only 3 tanks left, so they are going to start rushing forward. 9,300. Is he going to get another one? He actually bounces just as many shots on that IS-4. So one more shot there, and there we go. 9,985 block damage, excuse me. So absolutely insane, crazy amount of block damage. And that for me is the difference. And I'm not just saying it because, you know, it's this game. That's a regular occasion. When you're in regular occurrence, sorry. When you're in a map like Mines, Dead Rail, it's very easy to get those blocked shots. Now, Fizzy was literally drooling over this waffle here. He manages to get out. He manages to get the one shot. He's trying to get around. He's trying to reload. And the rate of fire on these things, on these heavies, both heavies are pretty good. Just before he reloads, the Death Star takes him out. And look at that, 16 shots. 16 shots blocked. And this is what I mean in a map like Dead Rail. I'm in the Super Conqueror. We're going to come up against the Chieftain. And we're only going to get a couple of shots on him. But you can see we're going to back up, and we don't even really need to aim and we still get the shot off on the hatch. And we've done that quite often. We do that quite a lot. So, for my personal opinion now, I prefer the Super Conqueror over the Chieftain. What do you guys prefer? Let me know in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm Meadsy, and I'll see you soon.